everybody, this is Amy with Garden Up. This is not an ideal day to be filming at all because it's very windy, so I apologize for background noise and all the that's going to be happening, but you know. So this area of my yard right here is really, really hard for me to get a hose to, and so I just stopped watering it. I gave up. What I'm going to do is take out all of this grass and we're going to put in a Xeriscape bed. So a few things about that. Xeriscape means plants that require little to no additional water. So I want to contrast that term with another term called Zeroscape. And Zeroscaping is landscaping with very few plants. It's usually gravel, dirt, sand, other like mulches with no plants growing through it that requires zero water. So they both have their benefits. Obviously you're reducing your water use, which is great, but Xeriscaping is where there are plants involved, and that is of course what I'm choosing to do today. It takes a lot more planning because you want to pick plants that are either native to your area or that will tolerate your level of rainfall and still survive and thrive, or you'll need to still add some supplemental water. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of all the grass, and this is the most time-consuming part, probably the hardest part because there's a lot of labor involved. I've been letting this go dry for 2 months now. So this dirt is super dry, which means it's super lightweight. Some dirts, when they are dry, turn into like a concrete, hard to dig through, okay? So it depends on what kind of dirt you have, what kind of tools and techniques you're gonna use to dig up grass. So the tools you'll most likely need are a shovel and a garden fork. Now, a word of caution, if you have irrigation, don't even use the garden fork. It'll go through your irrigation lines like a hot knife through butter, and you'll be repairing holes, and it'll just be a big pain in the butt. However, if you do need to learn how to repair an irrigation line, I already have a video on that, and I'll link it in the description below, but you can find it on my channel page. So some other tools you will likely need. You can try raking up the area first. Sometimes this helps, sometimes not. Again, it depends on what kind of conditions you have here. Sometimes if you rake first, you'll get all the extra junk out of the way. You'll also want a hori-hori. When you pick up a clump of dirt, you can beat the soil out of it. So I'm just going to cut a line about a foot away from the edge. It up like this using the shovel as leverage, and then I'll cut here so that I take it up in little squares. This is so dry that the dirt's just falling right out. Then I just take this bit of grass and I throw it on the tarp, which the wind has blown all over the freaking place. And so I can just cut a whole bunch of squares with my shovel all at once. Historically, I have found that it takes about 1 hour to do 10 square feet. This looks like it's going to go quite a bit faster, because it's so dry and so easy to work with now that we're in here. Here we are, the grass is all cut out, and this rockin' crew of mine did this with 3 of them, it was about 3 hours each. So the whole thing combined was just under 8 hours, which works out to about 22.5 square feet an hour. So like kudos, they doubled our average. But they say that that's probably greatly in part to the fact that the soil was super dry. It fell right out of the grass and was really easy to work. There was only one tree to work around, no other roots, nothing. So that was super easy. Oftentimes we'll be digging through grass in wet soil that's really heavy. That slows things down. Maybe there'll be some rocks, maybe there's some other tree roots or other plants that we have to work around. Anything like that slows this kind of thing down. So That's why I still use an average of 10 square feet an hour for this kind of project. One other thing that I did really notice, it became really apparent, is why this grass was so hard to keep green is that this soil is straight up sand. Like, there's nothing there to feed the roots or to hold the water or anything, and that also is going to change how I plant what I put in here. Even Xeriscape plants still need nutrients. They still need water to be available, and if it's just sand, the water's just going to go right through, just shoo, right through and gone, and it's not going to stay and be available for the plants to use. So when I put things in, I'm going to be making sure to add a couple of shovelfuls for each plant of compost. So we've already sifted through with the fork to find any more roots or any more junk that needs to come out. So this is ready for planting. I'm gonna go start grabbing plants. And here is our rough start. All our plants. I'm gonna go around and show you what I've got here. These are all plants that tolerate some level of drought. I will still be watering every now and again, but not nearly as much as I would with a normal landscape bed. So I'm going to show you each of the plants that I have here, because these are just stunning. They're just absolutely awesome looking. I love these. So that's what's going in to my new Xeriscape flower bed. We're gonna dig the holes, we're gonna amend with some compost, and then we'll take an after shot. So this is the downside of letting your soil dry out so much. Planting is like digging through concrete. This is, I haven't had to work this hard to plant a flower in a long time. If ever. But it is just straight up sand the whole way down. I'm trying to dig a hole big enough to plant this. We are amending with both compost, planting compost, and a little potting soil. A couple of reasons for this. One, I only had one bag of compost at the house. I haven't stocked up on that yet. So we're not going to have enough of just that to go across everything. But I had several bags of potting soil. You wouldn't usually amend your soil with potting soil because potting soil is a lot more expensive than compost is. But that's really the only reason. It's actually excellent at regulating moisture, so using it in a planting like this will be great. This is a plant that really does like to have nutrition in its soil. Stuff like yarrow and sedums and stuff, it's not as important. That in, mix it. Mix it in with the native soil so you don't get a water table. Okay, and then make your mound to put your plant on. That way the bottom of the pot, the bottom of the root ball gets good contact. Then I'm going to build my moat. I want the top of the plant to be level with the dirt, but I want the moat, there you go, I want the moat to be up above the soil line. So you use all that extra dirt to build your moat. So we're going to water it nice and deep. We'll fill up the hole with water. The water will percolate down in. I'm going to check with either my hori-hori or with my finger to make sure that water went down in, because that's super important. You want to make sure the water gets all the way down to the roots where the plant can use it, not just sitting on the top layer of soil. So here we are the next morning. I am broadcast watering it a little bit, because even Xeriscape plants that don't need a lot of supplemental water, they do need to get established before they go completely water-free. So that first few weeks of having a Xeriscape bed, it's a good idea to put some extra water on them. There's two ways I'm going to be watering. One is broadcast, and the other way is just with the hose right in these little bowls. That's why we made the bowls, was so that we could put the water right where it's needed. The benefit of the broadcast is that it's wetting all of the soil, and what it's going to be doing is germinating any weed seeds that are in here, which there are probably a lot, because, you know, weed seeds last for a long time. So this, by germinating the weeds on purpose, I can then shuffle hoe them up and get rid of them, hopefully quickly. I'll get the majority of them gone, and you know, while I'm really paying attention to this brand new bed. Have an irrigation system. Really? I have 3 of them that I have not managed to find homes for yet.